Welcome back to the Catnip Podcast. My name is Grace. Today is Friday, September 1st. This is a podcast about knitting and sometimes spinning and books and baking and cats and a lot of different things, but mainly knitting because that is what I love to do the most. I did not get as much knitting done as I would like this past week, but that is okay. Life happens, you know, and you just keep on going and you do your knitting podcast and you might be a little light on the content, but that is okay. We'll get into that in the episode. I have a giveaway, which is really wonderful. We'll be going over the winners at the end of the episode. We are celebrating the 1-year podiversary of the Catnip Podcast, which is just so exciting. And so I have 3 winners that I get to announce at the very end. So if you didn't enter, if you don't really care, then you don't have to worry about that. You can just skip that. So that'll be at the end. And of course, like always, you can find all my various show notes where I link to all the things that I talk about on my blog, or if you're on YouTube, that'll be linked down below. I also have all my various social medias. There's Instagram, Ravelry, Twitter, and Facebook. And I am most active on Instagram by far. So definitely go over and follow me on there. There's also a Ravelry podcast group, which I am terrible in posting in, but there is still a group if you would like to join one. If you go to Ravelry and click on the groups tab and search the Catnip Podcast, it should pop up. There's also an online yarn store where you can buy some yarn that I've hand dyed, and that is thecatnityarns.bakecartel.com. Last week I podcast later in the day, and today we've gone back to the crack of dawn. It is not as early as it has been in the past, but it is still pretty early. So I have a smoothie today. That's new, or hasn't happened in a long time. So that being said, if you would like to grab something tasty to drink, whether it be hot or cold, or even a breakfast item of some sort, like a smoothie, which are very good, you can come back and join me for some crafty chat. Before we get into the actual episode, we're gonna get the most random article of thought that I'm having right now out of the way. So you know when you're having a smoothie and you're really enjoying the smoothie, but then you realize that you didn't quite blend up the entire smoothie as much as you had hoped, and so you get a very unpleasant like blob of something that is not super pleasant to eat if it's been frozen, such as spinach. I don't mind spinach normally, but if it's a frozen blob that somehow gets sucked up the straw, that's just kind of like, I didn't really want that, but that's okay. I just experienced that. You probably didn't care, but I just wanted to share with you, if you have a smoothie, be sure to always blend it up well because you will enjoy it so much more. Life tips with the Catnip Podcast. Oh, blend up your smoothies, everybody. So I put the smoothie down so I can use my hands and talk with my hands because I always do that. First of all, at the top of the podcast, we will go over what I am wearing, and it is I don't know, I forgot the name of it. That is so bad. I can't believe I forgot the name of it. One moment. I can't believe I forgot the name, obviously, because, like, it's a very well-known cardigan, but also, like, I knit it while it's a study abroad cardigan. I literally knit the entire thing while I was on my study abroad, and so it's special to me. If you are new to the podcast, I studied abroad in France, in Paris and Grenoble, 2 summers ago. I was there for 10 weeks. It was the best experience of my entire life. And so yes, I reference that a lot. So if you are confused, that is what I am referring to. I have lots of pictures of it on my Instagram, so we're gonna go and try and find it. So I do apologize why I'm looking this up while I'm recording. This is bad podcaster habits, but I do apologize. So I found it on my Instagram, and so therefore I get to show you pictures of when I was in France and when I had incredibly short hair, because that was also part of my experience. This is the Rosamont cardigan that is on my Instagram, and I'm actually wearing the same tank top underneath. So fun story. Facts you probably didn't really want to know or did not really care about. There's when I didn't have the sleeves done yet. So yes, side note, as another part of my study abroad experience, I went there and chopped all my hair off, which again was like a super cool experience. And would I do it again? Yes, I would definitely do it again. My hair when I chopped it off was a lot longer than it is now, so this is like the growing out process. I enjoyed hair for, I enjoyed hair, of course I enjoyed hair. I enjoyed short hair for about 2 years, a year and a half maybe, I think. And then I decided I want to grow it out. Also because I was getting married and so I wanted longer hair. Which there's nothing wrong with having short hair in your wedding. It was just what I was going for aesthetically. That is what I preferred. So I would like to cut my hair short again at some point, but that is probably not very near in the future. That is long time away. Because I want to grow out my hair pretty long again, and because I really enjoy long hair. So anyway, that was super random and super like facts you didn't know about me, especially if you're new to the podcast. Welcome to the Candid Podcast. This is a random podcast about everything and random facts about my life. So, what were we talking about? The cardigan, that's what we were talking about. So this is the cardigan. It's called the Rosamont cardigan, and it is by Hannah Fettig. It is in one of her, it's a, like, you can buy the pattern individually on Ravelry, and then there's also a book that it's in, and I believe it's called Home and Away? Home Away? I could be totally wrong about that. I don't have the book. Our book copy is at my... But that's totally cool because I prefer working from, like, electronic copies of patterns, and I know that my mom likes working off of, like, paper copy of patterns, so it works out really well. And I have the ebook version of this book, so I'm good to go. We shared the book. It's really great. Thanks, Mom. The yarn of this cardigan is Cascade Ultra Alpaca in, I don't know what colorway, because they do numbers, but I will do my best to try and find it. It's like a rusty colored orange, and it is beautiful. It's like if pumpkin spice, it's kind of like a pumpkin spice color actually. That's a very good descriptive term. I don't know how accurate that is. We'll see how it is in the editing, but it's a good cardigan. I love it. I love my choice of yarn because it's just like so snuggly and it's so slouchy. And guess what, guys? It's cooler this morning. Like, what up? I am so excited about this. I am so excited. It has been so hot recently, and it's just been really very hot. And so at least if it's cold in the morning, I'm tumbling over my words, I'm just so excited about the cool. At least if it's cool in the morning, I can endure, like, that is wonderful. I love that little bit. I will take what I can get, and so it's been very wonderful. So it being very early in the morning, I have a sweater on, which, like, ultimately it's really not cold enough to need a sweater, but it's cold enough to be able to wear a sweater and not start sweating profusely within the first 2 minutes, if even that. So I have not started sweating yet, and I've been recording for almost 15 minutes, so like that's an accomplishment, people. That is an accomplishment. Also, speaking of weather, of course we cannot go by without mentioning the fact that Harvey happened, and I am so sorry for any of you that suffered flooding, and if it got into your house and messed up a bunch of stuff. I am so sorry, and I hope that everything gets fixed soon. If you're trapped because roads are flooded, I am also sorry about that. That's rough. Thankfully, my parents' house did not get any flooding. It was really close. It was pretty scary for a while, but thankfully no water came in. my parents were prepared and they moved all the furniture. They lifted it up off of the floor. If they couldn't move it, it was great. And they just went upstairs because they have a 2-story house and waited it out. Thankfully no water came in. Their neighborhood is very badly flooded though, so they're having parties with all the neighbors. Everyone's coming out and partying and sharing food and all that kind of stuff. So they're in good spirits. My in-laws, on the other hand, we think that there's a fair amount of water in their house, which is very unfortunate. So I don't know if they know how much water exactly, but hopefully it will not be too terribly much. But there is water, unfortunately, so that is a big bummer. But I know that a lot of people are suffering with water in their homes, so it's just a very unfortunate situation. Thankfully, Harvey has moved on. Hopefully it'll slow down, hopefully it'll lose power, but goodness gracious, that was a rough couple of days. And so because of that, I was not in the knitting mood, that is for sure. I was a little worried about what was going to happen. But things are fine. Everyone is safe. My in-laws did have to evacuate at one point on a boat, which does make for a really great story. It's not like a good thing that they had to do it, but it's a fun thing to be able to tell in like 10 years time. It's like, oh, do you remember that one time I evacuated on a boat because the water was so high? So yeah, knitting wise, that really affected my knitting mojo, honestly, which is crazy to say because obviously in Dallas we did not get hardly any. We had like 1 or 2 heavy thunderstorms that lasted maybe less than 10 minutes. So we hardly got anything. So yeah, it's kind of weird to be like, I live in Dallas and I'm not affected by it at all, but also I'm like super like emotionally involved with what is going on in Houston. This is so intense and it stresses me out. So I'm not gonna knit. So I didn't get very much knitting done. The podcast will suffer because of that, but I do apologize. We've ranted about the weather enough. Harvey happened and that is a bummer. So. But it's now time to hopefully recuperate and recover and all that jazz and get things on the road again. Also, before I get started on the knitting, there is a book that I'm going to talk about, and you might be able to guess what book I'm going to talk about, but it's the second book in a series that I started recently, and oh my goodness. I won't talk about it as much as I did the first book because in editing I realized that it was a long time that I talked about that book, so I'm gonna reel it in. I'm not gonna do as much. So I just wanted to let you know the schedule of the podcast, what's going on. So let's get into knitting. What have I been knitting on? I have been knitting on some fun stuff. I will say I've gotten a lot of progress on my Veronica sweater. I've gotten a lot of progress on my Hadfill hat that I showed you guys last week as a new cast on. It will probably not look like a lot of progress. It is not drastic by any means, but it is some it is some progress, that is what I'm trying to say. It's some progress, and considering how this week has gone, I would say it's pretty good progress. So we're gonna go over that. I also have another fun thing that I get to show you guys, and it's fun yarn, it's a fun pattern, it's a test knit. I love the designer and all of her stuff that she's done. I've never knit with this yarn before, but I love it, the little bit that I've done already, so that'll be fun to show you guys. Unfortunately, that is on the top of the bag, so I need to rearrange the little things first before I show you guys things. So, one moment. Okay, so first off, I'll show you the Veronica cardigan. It's gonna look exactly the same as it did last week, maybe just a little bit longer. I am literally like 2 repeats from being done with the back. I am so close. The Veronica cardigan, everybody. It looks the same, doesn't it? It doesn't look that much different. It's because I've been doing the same thing for forever. Twitch, twitch. My mom has speedily passed me. She's like picking up the bottom stitches, which is crazy. She's gonna have it done way before I do, which is super cool. I'm happy that she's got it done. But she is very good at knitting on one thing at a time, and I am not. And so therefore, when we have knit-alongs, she oftentimes finishes whatever we're knitting together first, because I'm like, ooh, thing, ooh, new thing, ooh, old thing, let's knit on this. And I'm like, oh, knit-along, I forgot about that one. I need to work on that. So it's a problem that knitters have. If you're not a knitter, don't judge me. If you are a knitter and you don't have this problem, still don't judge me. You know people like me are out there. There's a lot of us, actually. We just can't handle working on one project at a time. That being said, though, I am good about like working on one project in like a span of like maybe 2 or 3 days at a time. I am good at that, but any longer than maybe 2 or 3 days, or maybe a week if at most, I struggle. I struggle hardcore. So we're gonna just acknowledge that I'm not a monogamous knitter. Hi, I'm Grace and I'm not a monogamous knitter. And that's not a problem. It's just the way I knit, and there's no right or wrong way to knit, or your process of knitting, or whatever you want to call it. You knit what makes you happy. So I can show you this millions and millions of times and it's not going to change the way it looks. It is literally just this. There we go. So this is all of it. And I am so close to finishing the back. I have like 1 or 2 repeats left, and then it gets to start decreasing for the other side, which will hopefully mean that I will finish that, cast it off, and then pick up the bottom of the ribbon. And if you've heard me talk about it before, you probably heard me talk about it a lot, so I do apologize, but we're going to go over my yarn again because that is what we do, what podcasters do. This is Cascade Eco Wool in the color Ebony, and it is one of the most beautiful colors ever, and this is not showing up accurately on camera, but that's okay. It's like the most beautiful dark chocolatey brown that you could ever imagine. I love it. It'll be perfect for fall. Like this color with like jeans, either skinny jeans or flare jeans or whatever, and like a white t-shirt underneath, or like a gray one, or I don't know, any kind of color really. A flannel. Oh, the options are endless. It doesn't have to be cold enough for that, though. We just have to wait it out. It is the 1st of September, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be 60 degrees tomorrow, because this is Texas, people, and that just doesn't happen. So yes, I have been knitting on this while I've been reading, and I sped through an almost 700-page book in about 3 days, so I got a lot done. But a lot of it was, I'd say half and half of it was like knitting and reading and then just reading. So I could have gotten more done, I think, but I didn't because it was what it was. It is what it is. And so yes, I'm greatly enjoying this. I am looking forward to reading another book. Surprise, surprise, and knitting on this, because this is a really good knit and read project. So, my old romance cardigan was that for me for the longest time while I was still working on it, and then I finished it, and so it was like, oh, this is good work. I can work on this now. So, yes, this is the Veronica cardigan by Shannon Cook. I don't think I said that before, but it's by Shannon Cook. She's got wonderful patterns. She's got a wonderful Instagram. She is a wonderful person in general. I highly recommend that you check her out if you don't know who she is. So, yes, I am in love with this cardigan, and I cannot wait to finish it, and I cannot wait to wear it. So secondly, this is an old project, or it's literally 2 weeks old, but I'm going to show it to you anyway, even though it might not look like it got too much progress. There's cat hair on it. So this is the Hadfield hat, which I talked about last week. And this is a Quince & Company pattern, or it's like, it was on their website because it uses their yarn. It's by Pam Allen. The yarn is the Phoebe base, which I don't remember what it is. Do I have the tag? Oh, I do! It is 100% extra fine American merino, so it is super soft and super squishy. And this is in the Mars colorway. Currently all the Phoebe yarns are named after planets, which I think is super cool. So yeah, this is the Mars colorway, which works out really well because, one, I like maroon, not because I just went to A&M because their colors are maroon and white, but it is a nice thing that I did like maroon anyway. And also, number 2 or 3, depending on how you count your things, this color looks really good on me. So it's very close to this color, actually. Like, this is more red and this is more like orangey, but it's very close. It's in the same color family for sure. This is a fisherman's rib, which I went over last week. It's basically brioche, but it's not knit the same way. I don't understand it. It's because I don't understand how brioche works. I know how to do it. Like, I could do it. Nobody's business, but I just don't understand how it works. So because of that and the way it is knit, it is not something that I can easily knit without looking at it. And that's totally fine. It's how you knit fisherman's rib, and I'm just not that good at it yet. Or I know how to do it, it's just like I can't automatically do it without looking at it. So it was not a knit and read project, unfortunately. So woe is me, I had to watch a TV show while I knit on it. What a travesty. Oh my goodness. And you might wonder, if you're looking for new TV shows, you might wonder, what were you watching? What did you watch? What did you do while you were knitting on this? Because you couldn't read while you worked on it. And I will tell you, I was watching old episodes of the Great British Bake Off because I don't live in England or Europe. Obviously, I live in America. And so I don't have access to the current brand new season of the Great British Bake Off. So while everyone was watching the first new episode, I was watching old episodes, which made me feel better because I was like, I'm watching it in spirit. It may not be the new one, but I'm watching something. So, but the Great British Bake Off is one of those things that you can watch over and over and over again, even if you've already seen it, and you can still enjoy it just as much as you did the first time. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I will leave it in the show notes because, oh my goodness, you're missing out on something that is marvelous and such a wonderful thing. It's literally like baking and super happy and pleasant people, British accents, all kinds of accents really, puns, food puns, cake, scones, tea, like they drink tea while they bake, and like to me, that's just a wonderful thing. I love seeing that, and they're always just so happy, and it's just like, oh. I don't know if you guys feel that way about the Great British Bake Off if you've seen it, but I know I do. I know I'm not the only one. So, it's a wonderful show. It's such a feel-good show, but it's a competition at the same time, and it's not like, I'm so competitive, I need to win in order to feel fulfilled in life. They're like, I enjoy baking, so I'm just gonna try, and if I don't, I'll just continue baking. And I think that's really cool. So I really enjoy the Great British Bake Off. I enjoy old seasons. I cannot wait till somehow America gets the new season. I don't know when that's gonna be, but hopefully it won't be too long. So that is what I was watching when I was working on my Hadfield hat by Pam Allen yesterday. So I have a long way to go. I need to knit until this is maybe like 9 or 10 inches, I think. So it will take a while, but that's okay. That's okay. Again, this is another knit along with my mom, so she'll probably whip this out before I'm even close to being halfway, so we will see. But the plan is, as is all knit-alongs with my mom, is that we'll knit the same thing and then eventually we'll take pictures together where we're both wearing them, which will be super fun. So I'm looking forward to that. That'll be a lot of fun. Got a little toasty, so we had to shed the sweater for a little bit and cool off, but we're good now. So now I get the joy of telling you about this test knit that I'm doing, and I'm just so excited about it. Because I have actually not knit a shawl from this designer before, but all of her shawl patterns are in my queue, and I've been wanting to make all of them, and just all of her patterns in general, because she's got super cool designs. I think she lives in France right now. It's either France or England. I don't know which one exactly. I know that she does school. She's from one and she does school in the other, which is pretty cool. So, her name is Charlotte Borey. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. If not, I do apologize. But, it'll be linked in the show notes, so don't worry. So this is a shawl, and I am allowed to show this on the podcast. I did check with her, so that is good. And there will be pictures on Instagram. There are just some slight restrictions, and that's okay because it's a test knit, so secrets are allowed. But just in general, I can show you what I have so far because this is what I got done yesterday. And it is beautiful brioche. So, as you can see there, also we have this cool little like flowery thing that I get to, there'll be a lot of those and I'm very excited. So this is the one side, and here is the other side, and this is what this looks like. I'm just very excited with how it looks, and once it gets bigger, there will be more to like obviously show you and not show you because secrets and test knits. This is called the Bathwick shawl, and so if you see any like hashtags on that on Instagram, those will be the test knitters, which is very exciting. It's always fun to see what test knitters are doing. She picked out 5 people or however many people, I don't know. Had a deal with a yarn dyer, Cosmic Strings, which is from Edinburgh, I believe. And I have seen them, I have heard of them, I've seen beautiful pictures, I've heard of people knitting with them, and I've heard nothing but good things, but I've never knit with them because they're overseas and sometimes shipping and customs can be kind of expensive. So I have never knit with them, but because of like this test knit, we were able to just pay for the shipping, and so that was very, very wonderful. So we were given our colors from Cosmic Strings, and goodness gracious people, can we like pick any more beautiful colors? This is just so beautiful. I'll move out of the shot so hopefully it will focus on my yarn. There we go. And obviously on the camera it is not accurate. It's not super accurate, but this is more of like a rosy purple, kind of like a mauve. So, and this one is called, I have the ball bands, Misty. Very beautiful. Here's the tag. And this other one that I have is just so much fun. I love it so much, and it is called Marshmallow. And it's very plain, it's very white, or not plain. It's white and very neutral with like a bunch of speckly goodness everywhere, and it's just so much fun. Like purple specks, navy specks, pink specks, lots of amazingness. And both of these yarns are on their, don't know what kind of base, just their 4-ply base. It's 100% superwash merino. Here is their logo, and then here's their contact information. But obviously all of this will be in the show notes, so don't worry. So yes, we were given these, which is just so generous, and I just cannot like wrap my mind around it. It is so wonderful. I greatly appreciate it, and I am loving knitting with it so much. It's just wonderful. I will definitely be trying to knit with this yarn or other yarns from this company again, because they are just truly a delight. I just love it so much. So this is a brioche project, which is super cool. I feel like with brioche, I'm always very kind of like overwhelmed getting it started, but once I get in that like that groove of just kind of like, I'm just knitting along, doing brioche, oh, an increase, oh, a decrease, no big deal, I'm like super cool. But if I have to set it up or whatever, I'm just like just getting started and trying to read a pattern, I'm like, I'm not good at knitting brioche, what am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what any of this means. And then I get used to it, and then I'm like, this is no big deal. So don't doubt your knitting capabilities. You're probably a lot more capable than you think you are. Do not doubt yourself. If in doubt, just look it up on YouTube. That's my answer to all knitting problems, really. So yes, this is very exciting. Whoa, dropping everything. That's all I'm gonna say about it for right now. I love the yarn. I love the patterns so far. I'm sure I'll love the rest of it. So I'm very excited about that. I will be able to show you updates and post pictures on Instagram. So keep an eye out for that. And yeah, I'm just really happy to be working with Charlotte. She's such a sweet person, so yay. So normally, having done all the knitting content, we would then go into book and baking content. And I don't really have any baking content. I did eventually make that banana bread that I talked about last week, which ended up mighty fine, if I do say so myself. It's very good. I highly recommend it. It is a good banana bread recipe. I will link it in the show notes like I did last week, so don't worry about that. So yeah, I didn't really do a whole lot of baking due to Harvey and stress and worry and all that kind of stuff, but that's okay. It is what it is. Life is life. But moving along to books, and we're going to keep this book section very short because I can go on this forever. I read the second book in The Court of Roses and Thorns and Roses. Now I don't even remember what it is. I read the second book in that series, which is The Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. And again, people, like, I don't know how people can write in such a way that causes you to feel every single emotion that everyone is feeling, because like this happens in this book, and goodness gracious, it's such an emotional roller coaster, that is for sure. I was like up really high, then down really low, and then kind of in between, then up and down and up and down, and it was just like, I love this book, but I just, It's such a good book. I really recommend it. Again, I will say there is some intense like battle scenes, romantic scenes, lots of like really intense stuff. So I would, if you are thinking about fantasy for like younger people, your kids, if you have kids, probably look through it first. But yes, just to do the parental check if you are worried about that. It's very good. I did enjoy it. It's definitely for like more like mature adult people, but it's just a genre that is what it is. Lots of fantasy. I don't even know what to say about the book. It's just so good. The characters are great. For a while I thought I wasn't going to be okay with where the story was going. I wasn't going to be okay with the changes, but then like stuff happens, people say stuff, and you're like, whoa, okay, well, I'm not on your side anymore, so like let's just hold on. So I don't even know. Clearly I don't know what to say about this book. It's just so good. That's all I know what to say. Again, I stayed up really late last night. Not as late as the last time, but I did stay up really late last night finishing the second one because I could not put it down. And it's probably like one of the worst cliffhangers, but also one of the best cliffhangers. Does that make sense? I'll explain my thought process in just a moment, but it's like super good, and thankfully I don't have to wait for the third one to come out because it literally just came out like 2 months ago, so I'm good. The fourth one doesn't come out until sometime in 2018 though, so that is kind of a bummer, but that's okay. I've been very lucky in that I haven't had to like wait too long for these books, so it is what it is. I can wait. So back to a good cliffhanger and a bad cliffhanger at the same time. Without giving too much away, which is going to be kind of hard to do, so I'm going to do my best. I really, you know, in books or movies or whatever, when you go through almost the entire story, the plot, everything, of thinking that someone feels or thinks a certain way, and then at some point very close to the end, it suddenly like switches directions and you're like, wait, what? You this is not like what you said, you thought, and what you felt, and like what is going on? And so at that point you were put into a lot of emotional turmoil and you're like, what I know to be true is not true anymore, and what have I done? Like, I feel so emotionally invested and I don't know how to feel about this. A lot of feels. And so you read a couple more pages and you're like, or you watch a couple more minutes or whatever, and you're like, this can't be happening. What is going on? What does the author think she's doing? And then you realize that it's not as bad as you thought it was. And then the book ends. And so it's just kind of like, well, like, I really want more, but also I can rest in the fact that I know that what just happened wasn't really the case. So I don't think I gave too much away. Obviously I didn't mention any characters, any plot things. That was very broad and vague, but that is how I felt last night. For a moment I was just so upset, and it was like almost midnight and I was reading on my iPad, and it was just like, I don't know how I feel about this right now. This is so upsetting. Oh my goodness. And so I kept on reading, and then it was like, oh, I see what she did there. Okay, that's fine. I'm cool. And then the book ended. So, do you guys appreciate my book reviews? I don't know. I just really like talking about books that I feel very, very strongly about. So I'm looking forward to starting the third one. There's another wait list on that one as well, but that's okay. I have a lot of other books that have come in for me to read. So another thing, this just reminded me of this. I thought about this last night while I was reading it. Another thing that I really appreciate, especially in series, for me, sometimes it's really hard. If I love the first book so much, it's really hard for me to love the second book as much. And this series was not the case. I love the second book even more than I loved the first book. So everyone who told me that was going to be the case, you were right. You were totally right. And I really appreciate that when that happens, because sometimes it's hard to get into the second book of a series that you feel so strongly about. And so I have no fear or worry that the third book will be the same way. I've seen some kind of comments on the Goodreads page, but that's just people's personal preference. So I will have my own opinion eventually, and that'll be good. So because of that, I'm not worried about reading other kinds of books in between, waiting for the third book to come in. So that's good. I have short amounts of time to finish other books that have come in that are getting ready to be returned, but that's okay. You know, the library, that's the way the library works. You have to return things even if it's the online library. Unfortunately, the Catherine of Aragon book that I was reading 2 weeks ago, I was not able to finish it before it got returned, which is a big bummer. So I requested to get it again, and I'll just start where I left off when I get it again. Whenever that is, but that's okay. It'll be fine. It's just, there's just too many books, not enough time. Also, not enough copies of the books for all these people. But that's okay. It's a sign of a good book, I think. Also, another random funny fact. My sister at one point said, you know it's a good thing if when you go to buy something there's none left or there's only one left, and so if you're undecided, that's a good one to go for, because if everybody else loves it, there's a good chance you probably will too. Obviously that is not the case for everything, but I would also apply that to books. If there's like a bazillion people waiting in line to read a certain book, there's a good chance it's a good book. Not always, but there's a good chance it's a good book. So, yes, thank you, Katie, for that bit of information that has stayed with me for forever. So yeah, recap, that was The Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. That was the second book in that particular series. I don't know what the series is called, because the first one is The Court of Thorns and Roses, so I don't know what the series is called, but the second one is The Court of Mist and Fury. I don't remember what the third one is called, but it's a court of something else. And I am just so fascinated to see where it goes. I'm just like, I can't wait to read it. I am so looking forward to read it. So yes, that is my book rant. Hopefully it wasn't too long. So yeah. So now we've come to the very end of the podcast, and normally I would say goodbye to you, but this week we have a giveaway. Yay! Yay! We are celebrating 2 weeks ago, a while ago, sometime in August, we celebrated the 1-year podiversary of this podcast, and like I said last week, that just blows my mind. I am so thankful for every single one of you who subscribes, who comments, who likes, who messages me, who follows me on Instagram. I really appreciate it. You guys make my day, and it is so wonderful. And so because of that, I wanted to celebrate you guys and host a giveaway. And this is my second giveaway. First one was just one skein, but this giveaway is so much bigger. There are 3 skeins that you could win. You can't win all 3 of them, but you can win 1 skein. There will be 3 winners. There are 3 skeins. Let me just say that. And so I did the drawing this morning before I started recording, so that is what I'm going to read off to you now, but I'm going to review what you had to do. So I posted a picture on Instagram as soon as the podcast went up, or very shortly afterwards, which you had to repost on your own Instagram account. You had to tag someone in the comments of my picture and also be a subscriber on my YouTube channel. And there were a lot of you guys who entered, and I really appreciate you. It's just so exciting. I enjoyed checking the hashtag every single day that was to go with the reposted picture, just checking to see who all had entered and all that kind of stuff. So that's very fun. And then I was going to draw on the day that I was recording, which is today, September 1st. And so now we're going to go over the winners. We have 3 winners, and so the winner of the first skein, of this beautiful skein of winter berries of my own yarn on the Jolly base of 100% superwash merino, which is 400 yards, which is fingering, by the way. This beautiful skein of winter berries. So the first winner of that is Chanel Ariane. That is your username. I do apologize if I have mispronounced that. That will go right here, so don't worry. If you see your username right here, you won a skein of yarn! Congratulations! That's so exciting! Exciting, Chanel! I'm so excited for you! So if you could send me a message on Ravelry or Instagram, either one of those, with your address, I would love to get this out to you as soon as possible. But congratulations, that's so exciting. You won the skein of yarn! On to the second skein of yarn that can be won. which is this beautiful skein of confetti cake that is also my yarn. Also on the Jolly base, which is fingering or sock weight. It is 100% superwash merino and it is 400 yards. Oh, the logo's upside down. There we go. The winner of this one is post number 4, which is Crazy Knit 68. Congratulations, that's so exciting. If you see your username here, you got a skein of yarn, that's so exciting, yay! So if you would also like to send me a message either on Ravelry or on Instagram, send me your address and I would love to get this out to you as soon as possible so you can knit with your contest yarn. Woohoo! So the third and final skein that I will be giving away is this beautiful color of my own yarn in the cappuccino colorway. This is on the Pizzazz base, which is 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and 5% stellina. So you can see that stellina there, which is very beautiful. This is on the cappuccino, in the cappuccino colorway, excuse me. The winner of this one and final skein of the wonderful 1-year Podiversary giveaway. And the winner of this is Knitting a Love Song, which she has her own podcast, which is also super cool. So congratulations, Kirsten. That is so exciting. You won this skein of yarn. And again, if you would like to send me your address on either Instagram or Ravelry, I would love to send this out to you as soon as possible because yay for winning yarn. That's so wonderful. Thank you so much for entering my giveaway for the 1-year Podiversary. Thank you for being subscribers. Thank you for coming back every single week and watching every single episode. And even if you don't do that, even just one episode is wonderful. I do appreciate whatever you want. I'm so excited to mail these out to their recipients. Congratulations again. I know how exciting it is to win giveaways, yarn. I mean, who isn't excited to win yarn? So this is so much fun. I'm so excited for you guys. I hope you love your yarn. Post pictures on Instagram and you can use, obviously you can use the hashtag #CatKnitYarns and the CatKnit podcast, and that will be cool to see what you guys do with it. I'm excited, looking forward to what you guys do with it. So much fun. So congratulations once again. I hope you enjoy your yarn. So I will say, if you did win yarn, please get back to me within a week of today. So or maybe 2 weeks. We'll give it 2 weeks. So there's a car going by. You didn't win yarn, so you were not a part of this conversation. So I'm gonna give the people who won yarn 2 weeks to give me their address, and if I don't hear from you in 2 weeks, then I will re-gift this yarn to somebody else in the giveaway hashtag. So just be sure to get me your address within 2 weeks and that will be wonderful. I will get it out to you as soon as possible. So that is it for this week. We've done knitting, we've done test knitting, we've done Harvey chat, we've done books, we've done a little bit of baking, but not really. We've done contest stuff, giveaway stuff, so exciting, and just general happiness. It's been a good episode. I'm very happy with this recording. Fun little fact about podcasters, knitting podcasters, you might also relate to this, but this is how I feel. Sometimes after I'm done recording, sometimes I'll feel like, yes, that was a good podcast episode. I'm happy with how that went. This is so good. I can't wait to like edit it. It'll be fun to edit, blah, blah, blah. And then other times it's just kind of like, I could have done better. Like, that wasn't super great, but I mean, it is what it is. It's a podcast episode. I'm always harsher on myself than I am on others, so that's a thing. But so there are the two sides of being like really happy with what you've recorded and also being just kind of like about what you've recorded. But I'm feeling really good about this one, so that's good. Really happy stuff. Also, I do apologize. I realize my hair is down and I hope I have not played with it too much. I have tried to keep my hands to myself and not touch it too much, but I do apologize if it was bothersome during the episode. Yes. So of course, to review, like always, there will be show notes of all the things that I've talked about that will be linked on my blog. If you are on YouTube, that'll be linked down below, or if you're on my blog, that'll just be down below. I have all my various social medias that you can go and follow me on, but I'm most active on Instagram. Those social medias are Twitter, Instagram, Ravelry, and Facebook. There's also a Ravelry podcast group that you can go and join that I am very bad in posting in, but you can go and join if you want to. That is, if you go to Ravelry, click on the groups tab and search the Cat Knit Podcast, it should pop up. There's also an online yarn store where you can buy some yarn that I have hand dyed. That is thecatknityarns.bigcartel.com. And yeah. So I think that is it for this week. I hope that if you were in Houston this past week or in the path of Harvey, that you did not suffer too much damage, that you guys are safe, your family and friends are safe. Hopefully there's not too much flood damage where you are. If there is, I hope it gets fixed quickly and everything is okay. And maybe just use it as a time for extra knitting, because because knitting is always a comfort in any kind of trial or tribulation. Knitting is always nice to have. So if you have experienced that, I do hope you have your knitting, and I hope that is a comfort to you, because that is always nice. And if you were not in the path of Hurricane Harvey, I hope you had a wonderful week. I hope you did not have as crazy weather as that area of Texas did, because goodness gracious, that was bad. I hope you have had a wonderful week. I hope you continue to have a wonderful weekend. If you have crafty plans, I hope they are successful. We've had busy weekends the past couple weeks, which have been so much fun and so wonderful. But this weekend is going to be a quiet one, which I know my husband and I are both looking forward to just kind of like, just kind of chill. Clean a little bit, get things tidied up. Do normal adulting things that require a little work and keeping things nice, which is, it is the way it is. And hopefully that will involve a little bit of crafting time for me. So wouldn't that be wonderful? Hopefully I'll get some good progress on all my projects so I can show you next week. And so with that, I think that is all that I have to say. So I'm going to bring this podcast episode to a close, and I guess I'll see you guys next week. Bye!